So I'm getting ready to go on Power Tour West. I'm getting ready. I'm planning on going. I decided this about 2 months ago when I had a perfectly good running, driving Falcon back here with a fresh engine, transmission, everything. And I was watching Stay Tuned with Tony and Barb, and they decided to take their inline six-cylinder trucks and put Chinese turbos on them and, make a bunch of tire smoke. I thought I can do that. So, with Power Tour being 57 days from today, I'm going to show you what my car looks like. So here she is. We will start with this lady right here. I got this on Prime Day. It was like $105. This is a GT 3582 from Max Speeding Rods. And hopefully it does everything that the internet says it will do. Let's see, what do we have here? So I got a Sniper fuel pressure regulator, boost referenced. I added a return line to the tank. Let's see, I have our VS Racing wastegate. I also have the VS Racing bluff valve, not pictured here. Hot side, or cold side rather, isn't done yet. And you'll see I've got a catch can. Of course, I've got the coolant run for the turbo. I have this makeshift solution for my heater hoses because they used to run this way, right in this area. So I'm not loving this. I'm looking for a better solution for this, but this is just temporary to make the motor run. It may go to Power Tour this way. I don't know. There's no shortage of connections here. Lots of opportunity for leaking. So good times there. Let's see, but you'll notice that one thing is missing, which is my Sniper. This thing right here. I've had this on the car for about almost 3 years, and it has worked flawlessly until I decided to tear the car apart and go to Power Tour with a turbo. So what has happened is my Sniper, the fuel pump primes forever. So I've been on with Holly Tech and on the Holly forums and talked with a bunch of other people who've had this. And all of the usual suspects I already did, which is trigger your ignition with a relay. It was like that from day one. All of my grounds, I've got a really good ground plane. All my powers are good. Everything goes right to the battery like it should. So I talked to Holly and they said you have to send it in. They told me it'll be back in a week to 2 weeks. They received it on their dock yesterday, which was the 10th. So hopefully it'll be back in time for hot side, which is kind of the big elephant in the room. This is just a makeshift quick and dirty downpipe. It just kind of shoots at the floor there to get this car on the trailer so I can take it over to Rob at Flipside and have him build me a custom 3-inch stainless steel exhaust all the way out the back. Some of the other few things I did to the car while I was waiting on parts, I went ahead and moved the battery to the back. I have a 3D printed cover that has to go on there to kind of keep all the big road debris off of that. But it runs up into the fender well. Yes, the wiring is a mess right now because I was in the middle of diagnostics trying to figure out why the Holly was priming too much, but this will all be cleaned up. So yeah, that's that. Let's take a look at the back of the car. So in the back of the car, some of the few things I did while I was waiting on parts. Move the battery to the back. I've got a mega fuse here. Got another fuse for the Holly, which this is the Holly right here, supposed to go right to the battery. So I did that correctly. Also put in a light here, just in case we're on the side of the road and we need to get tools out of our trusty toolbox here. These are a few parts that are going to be for the downpipe dump. Planning on putting some kind of a jam in the car just so we have something to listen to. Me and my buddy are going to make this trip from Tacoma to LA, which is going to take 3 days. And then we're going to meet up with the Power Tour crew, and then we'll have 3 more days there, and then I have 3 days back. He's going to go back to Texas. So battery charger, few things. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and hardwire this inverter so we can run the laptop because I'm probably going to be tuning this thing as we drive, just because that's the way things usually go. Here's my fuel return. Right into the top of the tank. I use one of these Earl's weldless fuel tank return kits. It was about $40 on Summit. It works like a nutsert. Seems to be okay. We'll see what happens when I've got it full of fuel. But people say if you do it correctly, they seem to work fine. A few of the things I did is I had this material laying around with so foam behind it that I was going to do on the door panels. I was going to send these out and have them done professionally, but I'm really impatient. I wanted something on the door, so we did those. Me and the mouse in my pocket. But that should work for the trip. Of course, we've got carpet in the car, headliner done badly, but the roof is double insulated, so it should be quieter on the road. We've got this 3D printed holder for my 3.5-inch screen in there. Also, we've got our boost gauge right there, and I added an oil pressure gauge and sheath over there in front of my cup holder, also 3D printed. It fits where the ashtray used to live. So I think that's about it. Oh, and we also have some 6.5-inch speaker pods. I just need to get some drivers for those, so I have something to listen to. So one of the challenges with this setup is the hat for the top of the throttle body. Now I do have, this is a 200, so it's the small deck, small 6. But one of the issues that I'm running into is the fact that I'm using this Offenhauser intake manifold, which this actually started out as a motor with 3 single barrel 34s on it. But I just could not get it to idle and work well at wide open throttle, AFR wise. It would to one or the other. And so honestly, again, being impatient, I gave up and I ordered the Sniper. And then I had this intake log extension kind of built. So our 2-barrel feeds all 3 of the inlets on that manifold, but that added about that much height to where the throttle body sits. I could have changed the head and flipped this around and gained about 1 inch. But I just think this intake manifold is really cool, and so I want to use it. So to keep from hitting the hood, I got a good friend of mine named Andon, who is a whiz at SolidWorks, to help me design with my specs a hat. So here is the first design that he did. This thing fits perfectly. This would require a little bit of trimming here for this back end to clear. But then we kind of figured out that this thing is kind of big and would fit a 4150 because it has the same size here. But there's no barrels back here, so there's really no need for all this open space to be back here. So we came up with this design. So this actually feeds all of the air charge directly into these barrels without the risk of turbulence back here. And again, looking at my intake setup, turbulence is the least of my problems, but I think this thing looks pretty cool and it should clear the hood just fine. I haven't test fit this one because I had to send my Holly off, but this should do what it's going to do. It's red right now just for prototyping. I printed this on my Neptune 4 Max out of this translucent polymaker, which really prints quite nicely. This is just for test fitting. I'm going to have this made at Forge Labs out of either carbon fiber or ABS or nylon, something that's friendly to underhood temps. So that'll go there. And then when I drop this thing off at flip side for hot side, he's also going to do cold side, which right now I'm just going to do hot air, and we're going to run a elbow right here, blow off valve right there, and we're going to run 5 or 6 pounds of boost and see what this thing does. I want to show you guys a few things that we did under the car, me. So I had to reroute my transmission cooling lines Keep them really close to the block just because we have a downpipe coming here. Those will probably get hard lined at some point. We have our alternator, our Tough Stuff 1-wire alternator wire here because I used to run it up top, but I had to move the starter solid and everything behind the tower. So that's where this is going. And this is my main ground for my ground plane. This goes right up to the grounding lugs on the side of the fender well there. And we have our turbo drain here. Rob at Flipside did this for me. I yanked the pan off, which was a huge pain in the ass, and brought this to him, and he welded this AN10 weld bung in for my turbo drain. And you can kind of see my fuel return and feed lines there. We have a nice path for my exhaust to go all the way back. And we're going to do 3-inch all the way back over the axle and out the side with some type of a vibrant straight through muffler. Hope it won't be too loud, but hope it'll be just loud enough. There's some of Rob's handiwork there on this up pipe. Dude can weld. So that's most of what I wanted to go over. I will say that 57 days sounds like a lot of time, but I work in the automotive industry as well. So that means I have to go to SEMA every year, and I don't get to walk around and like go see all the cool stuff. I'm stuck in a booth for basically Saturday to Saturday. So I lose a week there. I have 2 work trips that are going to take me away for a full week each. So that is 7 times 3. That's 21 days out of the 57 gone. So hopefully while I'm out of town, Holly shows up. I can get that on the car and it's good. Dump this thing off at Rob's and have the exhaust done. And then only thing we have to do is everything else. So I'm going to make more videos as this thing progresses and yeah, keep everybody on the loop or in the loop, on the loop. And I'll also be posting videos all the way in our road trip down the 101, down to LA from Tacoma, and see what kind of antics we can get into. And hopefully we don't break too often. Thanks for watching. Another complicator with getting this thing done in time for Power Tour is I also get really distracted with other projects. I've also got this thing that I recently acquired, an 85 Fox body. So I've had a few, and I had one friend who told me, you've got one more Fox body in your life that's going to happen. And sure enough, I don't know. I just